like nice try, Brandon.
We're live.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hello, good afternoon, Scott. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Kayleen. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. You know, just always looking forward to Lunch with Tuesdays, and as normal, while we are waiting for folks to kind of join our feed, I geek out about something that I really enjoy. So before I start lunch, I guess I'll introduce myself, Kayleen McCabe, co-host of Lunch on Tuesdays with my good friend Scott Sheelar from cephka. And this week's item I'm geeking out about are my safety earplugs. These are my absolute necessity almost everywhere I go. I have them in every vehicle. They're usually on my pockets of my job site because you never know what you're going to come across as far as noise stuff. And over the past week or so being on a job site again, I didn't think I'd need them in fencing. Why? You know, we're like digging holes. No, Scott, we dig holes with jackhammers and rocks. I didn't know, like, oh my, I got myself into like big time fencing. And there's like chainsaws constantly. So these are a necessity, but I didn't know, Scott, I'd been putting these in wrong for a long time until a few years ago. And I saw the proper technique. Did you know there's a proper technique to put these in?
Yeah. So it has to do with like lifting up your ear, right? And you kind of scrunch them up and you lift up your ear. Yeah.
Yep. So you do the roll.
Yep.
Turn your ear around.
Yep.
So I thought it was a good idea to show this off because this is Careers in Construction Month, and we're ending it talking to Katie George from CareerSafe. And now I feel like I need to start talking louder because I can only hear myself. So I just wanted to show that off for all of our fans and viewers because, you know, it's important to know how to use safety equipment properly.
Absolutely. And those things work. I mean, you wouldn't think a little piece of foam would make a big difference, but it really does if you put them in the right way. I was actually out at a shooting range. I got to do some skeet shooting a few weeks ago, and they said, you know, ear protection required. And I had the ear protection, but I got out there and my team was like fired their first shot. And I was like, ow, that hurt. I had forgotten to put in my ear protection. And so, yeah, it's no joke. You've got to put it in and you've got to put it in right. You're exactly right.
Yes, correct. And, you know, I didn't always realize on how necessary they were. No, the word today. On a job site, because sometimes there's even like a high-pitched noise with hammering. Things you don't really think about. Those repetitive noises can really do a lot of damage. So hooray, safety. That's what I'm geeking out with. And like I said, you know, we're talking with Katie George from CareerSafe. How does cephka and CareerSafe work together?
Yeah. So Kayleen, you know, when this pandemic started, everything went virtual, right? It was almost like overnight. And so much of the work that cephka does is in person. All of our training and everything is in person. But we had met CareerSafe through Skills USA, actually. We were out at Skills USA one year and CareerSafe had their booth set up and we learned all about it there. And so we were already familiar with it before the pandemic. But when the pandemic came and we had to go this full on virtual, the very first group we thought of was CareerSafe, and specifically their Osha 10-hour training. We said, you know, that's a big part of the training that we do in our high schools here in Georgia. And we said, hey, if we can just get the CareerSafe Osha 10-hour in the hands of our students and let our students earn that Osha 10-hour, you know, from home if they want to, that would be an awesome thing. So we partnered with CareerSafe to be able to offer licenses to thousands of students here in Georgia. And we learned about some other training that they do as well. Of course, they do the Osha 10-hour, but they also have an employability skills, sort of soft skills program. So we partner closely with them. In fact, they were the very first group we thought of when we said, hey, we need virtual training. We went straight to CareerSafe and we found them to be great partners. So I'm so happy that we're talking with them today and going to learn more about what they have to offer.
Yeah. I agree. And I am so thrilled that you are giving the students in Georgia that opportunity because it's not just something of like, oh, you work in construction, you should do this. No. I wish I had taken this before my first job. I wish I had my Osha 10 and that knowledge and that base. And so perfect timing. We are joined by Katie George. So we can geek out about all this stuff. So hi, Katie. It's
Hello.
wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us for lunch.
And Kayleen, before I forget, I am not going to be able to jump back on this afternoon. I've got to drop off. So y'all just close it out today. But have fun with Katie. Katie, good to see you again. And you all have a good time this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott, yes. We'll see you next time. And so, Katie, I appreciate you joining us so much to finish off the month of careers in construction, talking about safety and CareerSafe. So, for the fans out there who don't know, could you tell us a little about CareerSafe and what your role is with them?
Absolutely. So, I'm the Director of Educational Services. So, anything that has to do with career and tech education and our training programs for them, I'm involved in. And it's a job that I just dream of, because I love so much of seeing what career and tech education is doing for students these days. But really, the sentiment of what CareerSafe was started off of was the phrase, no job is worth a young worker's life. Our founder and CEO, Dr. Larry Teverbaugh, has given us so many stories of his time as a young worker and basically being fearful of all the crazy, dangerous things that he's done and not knowing necessarily his rights to stand up, to know what's right and wrong and what he doesn't have to do. So what we did is we've created this program. We get students the right skills necessary to help them in their job search. So not just our OSHA 10, but now we are helping them with the whole interview process, communication skills, how to even protect themselves online. So we keep expanding it just because we want the students to be successful. We want them to have a great start to their career. So that's
wow. Katie, I had no idea. I mean, I met you too through Skills USA and was a fan of your booth because that's where I got my swag. I signed my safety pledge, but then I also had the opportunity to take your online OSHA 10 class, and it really opened up my eyes to even being an adult and being like, well, I mean, duh. But I had just gone along with things in my younger years, not thinking about it at all. And what a valuable opportunity, but I had no idea of the other services that you folks offer. That's incredible. You are really making that career safe. Like, what?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought up that you took our program, because I have a little surprise for you. As OSHA cards go, they're these paper wallet cards that were there for years, but they have recently transitioned to plastic cards. So I have your new plastic card just for you to send your way.
Thank you.
Hot off the press this morning.
Awesome. Oh, and I got wallet swag too. I can go to that side and say what this is. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Because Katie, you know, I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed to some of the things that I did on a show that was nationally televised. Like, oh, my bad. I didn't always show safe things. They were funny, you know, but were they safe? No, you know, and so it's awesome being able to know, rock the swag. And what I don't, so first of all, can you just rewind real quick? Because I think the information you're providing is so big. Where can folks find out more information on the services you provide?
Absolutely. So everything we do is all online, and it can be found at careersafeonline.com. So all of our programs are completely online. All of our classroom resources to help teachers are online. Everything is right there.
Wow, that is impressive. And you folks have been online way before we needed a lot of online services. So you've been an established communicator and online partner with that, but maybe not necessarily a resources teachers knew about. So now we can inform them. Now, what is really cool too is you've recently expanded all the programs into Spanish as well, which is fantastic. We do have a lot of multilingual or bilingual people in the fields. My gosh. So are you seeing an increase in students taking that program?
We, of course, are seeing an increase, but and it's not just necessarily for classrooms either. Because we are the lowest cost online provider, we're a great resource for anyone looking for their OSHA 10, not just high school students or college students, but anyone. So the Spanish has really expanded. But one thing that's really taken off for us that we do that nobody else really does is we've taken the OSHA 10-hour content and the core, and we tailor it to the various trades aligned in career and tech education. So we actually have 8 different samples. So if it's construction, great, because everybody knows OSHA when they think of construction, but they don't necessarily think of it for culinary or cosmetology or agriculture, all of those. So we have expanded it so that all of these programs are giving these students the basic knowledge that they need to help protect themselves. And one of the most amazing programs about it is that any student that takes our OSHA 10-hour course is eligible for a $500 scholarship. All they have to do is tell us how that OSHA 10 has made an impact or changed their way of thinking. They write a short essay, send it to us. Every quarter, we pick 4 winners to get a $500 scholarship.
What?
And stories we get from these students just to hear, you know, I'm going to go be a surgeon, but right now I'm currently a janitor at a nursing home. And because of this course, I learned these different techniques and better patient handling and all of that, while also getting the OSHA 10, which is an industry recognized credential that doesn't expire.
Holy cow, that is absolutely incredible. And I cannot help to get the word out to more students about that because, wow, you know, I don't want to assume, could you please explain OSHA and its role? You know, I don't think many people might not know what OSHA stands for.
True. So OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. And a lot of times when people think about OSHA, they get this taste of, oh, they're the people that come in and make us do all these extra restrictions. But really, it was created to help protect workers, to make sure that they understood their rights, so that they weren't being asked to do things that were unsafe. So as I first described, our founder, OSHA didn't exist when he had his first jobs. So when he tells us stories about living in Texas City and working on the pipelines and having to go in and drill pipes that he doesn't know what's going to happen, it was a world of difference. Or he has a story about where he basically taped the safety thing just so that he could get around it, and an accident happened. So like, he didn't understand those things to help protect himself. So what we're trying to do is help reduce those statistics of young workers, which are incredibly high. And I get kind of bothered at times when people say safety is just common sense. But if you think about it, where does common sense come from? It comes from common experiences and things you do. And these young workers have never done these things before. So you can't expect them to understand what to do with a slip, or what hot oil, or how to use this piece of equipment. And so us helping them, give them that baseline of knowledge, which is what OSHA helps do and helps protect them. Again, it helps them be able to stand up for themselves and understand what's right and wrong and what they can and can't do.
Oh, big time. I mean, my first job was not in construction. It was definitely in a restaurant. And yeah, you know, just some things that I wish I had known as far as slip resistant shoes, you know, things you didn't really think about back then. But it's wonderful that you're preparing the young workforce, and in a method and in a way that they can digest it right now, because a lot of students aren't necessarily getting the safety training that they would normally get through conversation and teaching, hands-on.
Absolutely.
You know, I haven't been able to see a lot of the online classrooms, but I imagine that, you know, a lot of it is always in all safety gear because you're not using tools and such. So it's an amazing program that now you can access 100%. We've always been able to access online because that's how I took it. So, you know, you talked about the statistics with students. Talk about that, because I was really shocked to hear the numbers. That was way higher than I thought.
Students between 16 and 24, which is technically classified as young workers by the Department of Labor, they have twice the injury rate of any other 10 age gap as they go up. And a lot of that stems from inexperience and just not knowing that knowledge. And that's where I always go back to that frustration of safety is common sense, because that core group, they're just not aware. Not only that, they're put in positions that are high turnover positions. So with that, they're not companies don't invest as much in some of the training components that go along with that. And so it just creates additional problems. But again, with career and tech education and with programs like ours, we're doing everything we can to help put as much knowledge in their hands before they take that job. And that's actually what our CareerSafe's vision is to advance and enhance OSHA's mission by giving every young worker training before they take their first job.
Yes. Well, you know, and the emphasis is for young workers or new workers. Really, we're looking at the industry right now where I talked to some folks who are teaching at career and tech colleges, and their average age of a student is mid-20s. And so I think the term student should be used loosely. Kind of everybody should take this. In fact, I really when I took the program, I didn't look at it and see anybody who this wouldn't be applied for,
Mhm.
you know, that the information wouldn't be useful. I just kind of wish more people would have their OSHA 10 card in their wallet. Now I'd be like, who's cool? I'm gonna be cool real soon. I can't wait. So, you know, CareerSafe was already online and had extensive programming, but how has COVID changed what you folks are doing?
COVID has actually helped quite a bit with classrooms. So in some schools, their instructors are actually OSHA trainers. So they do get the training online or in person. So with schools shifting everything to an online program, it's actually created a lot more opportunity for students to get additional online credentials, such as their OSHA 10. We had a huge uptick in the spring of students getting their credentials, but it's carried on through the fall. And it's a program that educators are finding to be incredibly valuable. And not just the OSHA 10, but as described earlier, we have recently expanded with our employability skills training. So we have programs that will walk these students through how do you do a job search? How do you create your resume and list the skills that you have from maybe your clubs or a leadership role within the school if you don't have job experience? How do you list those out? We even walk them through if you were to do a panel interview, a face-to-face interview, a Skype interview, any of that, just because that's the way things are going these days. So we're really trying to help the educators better prepare the students with these online resources. So for us, it's been fantastic, but more importantly, it's been better for those classrooms and giving additional opportunities for those students.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm very excited to hear about the interviewing process. You know, that was something that I saw kind of drop off with students on how do you present yourself and be professional. I hope part of that too is being a good show after the interview, because I've also hired a few folks who are great at interviewing, and then second day they're like, I just don't want to be on time. I'm like, oh, nuts. So
yep. It's actually going to be a full series. And so we've just rolling it out slowly, or actually it's going to be pretty quick soon, but it's going to include financial management, time management, HR personnel management, critical thinking skills, communication skills. It's going to be a whole suite. And with the way we do the training are in small little nuggets of information. So it makes it really easy for the students to digest and for the teachers to implement it in certain areas where it makes sense in their curriculum.
My mind is blown. I didn't know this interview was going to be this amazing. This is another great surprise.
The thing is it doesn't have to be done in a classroom. So any student or any individual that wants this information, it's all available to anybody that wants to try it out.
Yes, and I highly encourage it, especially for younger students, because how do you learn? And you know, when I was growing up, there was a lot of options for summer jobs. You know, you could babysit or mow yards. I made jewelry, and then I don't know, I did a lot of different things. Now those opportunities aren't always there. And sometimes with those early jobs, you learn those soft skills on how to communicate, how to work as a team, how to quit with grace, or, you know, ask for a promotion. And I'm so excited that now you're providing students all those components that are so necessary. The financial side, Katie, that is, I don't see that often being highlighted, and the importance of it, you know, the reality of what do you make, what do you pay in taxes, and how do you budget?
Right.
Okay. And then I'm excited because the industry is such a fluid one that, you're going to give them all the good skills. I'm virtually sending CareerSafe a high five. This is fantastic. Remind me again where teachers can go, or students, or anybody who is interested in learning about this can find out the information.
Absolutely. Again, all on the website, careersafeonline.com. Pretty simple, straightforward.
I love it. So let's say that I am a student or a teacher and I'm excited about this. How do I get the training into schools? Like, I see a lot of kids who are smart.
Absolutely. So we do things a little bit differently as well. So we have a staff throughout the country that will help you get things set up. And teachers need no additional training or anything to implement all of our programs because it's all online. We provide the teachers additional lesson plans to submit, which they really have to do now with online curriculum. So we provide that for them, everything. So our staff that's throughout the country will even come out to your school. It's a little bit different now with COVID, but we go out there and we do celebration parties for the students that get all of their OSHA 10. Like we'll go out there and do a pizza party or a cookie party, or make sure that we go in and we present the kids with their cards, just because we want to celebrate something that's so awesome about the students. So again, what we always want to do is make things as easy as possible. So really, you just contact anybody on our site and we'll get you set up and get everything taken care of. But not only that, we're going to help take what you're doing in your classroom and elevate it a step further. So we do regular classroom highlights. We share the stories of your projects. Like I said, we have all these scholarship opportunities for the kids. We even have, which I know you're familiar with, what you see at Skills USA, but a great video contest where the kids get to make their own video PSAs on safety and win up to $7,500 in scholarships for their schools. So again, we want to do anything and everything we can to help elevate what's actually going on in the classroom. It's not necessarily about us, it's about the students and what they're doing and what those teachers are helping prepare them for in their future.
Time. And I just, Katie, I'm just so excited on the opportunity for the students. Now, is this, what age group? High school only?
No.
Or middle school? Like how young are you going?
We have a very basic training that we actually start with our middle school kids, because let's start them young. Let's get them started with those core topics. And those kids use this information for home as well. The majority of the students that use us are within the high schools, but the community colleges and trade schools are actually picking up quite a bit as well, especially because of COVID and everything going online.
Big time. Well, to provide right now a wonderful sort of package to teachers who are working their brains out, trying to be creative and keep their students engaged. And here is this beautiful program that it's recognized everywhere. To have your OSHA 10, that's something that as an adult, you can walk onto a job site and say, I got my OSHA 10. That is huge to see on a resume or hiring in any industry. So to provide that is fantastic, and a nice package to help out teachers as well. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Since you are kind of in the industry too, are you seeing a need in a particular area or genre for careers?
It's constantly changing, but there is a big increase in healthcare right now. And the OSHA 10 has actually been taking off in the healthcare industry as well. So especially with COVID and the changing of needing additional staffing and all of that, healthcare is a very growing field. And so that has been huge, but especially right now, construction's booming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it changes.
It is booming off the charts. Right now I'm working with some young laborers as well. And it's so interesting seeing their footwear choices and their lack of PPE. And I feel like mother hen coming in and being like, here are your safety glasses. Please take those. The construction field, I think in any area is off the charts.
Absolutely. And we were actually given a great message from the manager of IBEW 351, which is in South Jersey, the electrical union. And he had stated that any student that comes in with an OSHA 10 already listed in their resume, they're going to be elevated higher simply because it shows that initial proactive effort. And for someone of that stature to say, we're impressed with what CareerSafe's doing and that these students are putting in this extra effort helps tremendously. And so again, any little thing to help a student look better on that resume is gonna, shine.
Oh, big time. And it is something, participation in clubs is important, but having that OSHA 10, I just can't impress upon folks enough that if you don't have it, take it. Because I still walk around now and I'm like, oh man, that is not safe. Sometimes when I'm looking, I still do dumb things because I'm an adult, but not on a job site.
Actually, two of my favorite stories of students, and we get hundreds of them. And as you're aware, at the conferences with all the kids, they walk up to us and they're like, look, I've got my OSHA 10. So we highlight it and we excite them and we cheer along with them. And so they share the stories about what the impact has been. But two of my favorite that have just lasted with me for so long. One is a construction student out of Houston. He went to Alvin High School, and he graduated, went into a construction job fair, he said he showed up there and there were just dozens and dozens of people there. And he was kind of down on himself because he had just graduated, didn't think much of it, but this is what he wanted to do. And so one of the hiring managers came out and said, does anybody here already have an OSHA credential? He said he was one of 4 people in this entire place that raised his hand, and they said, come on back, let's get you started. Talking about an 18-year-old in a room with all of these other people with this experience, that just because they had taken that effort and had that OSHA 10, he got that job. And so he tells everybody, I got my job because of my OSHA 10.
Heck yes. Well, and you can have a lot of experience, but I work also with people in the industry for a long time. One of the worst accidents I almost had was working with a framer who had the safety off his gun, and I was holding something and it went whoop right by me. Ooh, narrowly missed me. As somebody who had never taken OSHA anything and was immediately fired. I don't want unsafe people. I like both my eyeballs, turns out. It's crazy. So do you have the second story?
The second story was actually an ag student, and we got his message from him completing that essay. So he didn't know anything about OSHA. He lives on a family farm, generations and generations of this farm. He takes our program and he decides he's going to do some electrical work in the barn. And so he knew nothing about lockout tagout before taking our program. So he decides I learned this in this program, I should do lockout tagout. He did. So he has said his dad comes out to the barn to check on him, says, why is the power not in here? And went to go flip the breaker, but saw that his son had done lockout tagout. His dad found him and said, I'm so glad you did that, but what made you think to do that? And he goes, well, I learned it in this OSHA training program. He goes, I'm so glad you did, because if I hadn't, what tragedy could have happened there?
No kidding. Yes. That is, all the electrical puns just popped in my head, but it is a very tragic situation that was definitely avoided by doing that. And, you talked about earlier, the videos that the students do. Are any of those available to watch online? They're so good.
We share them on our social media all the time, but also, again, leading everybody back to CareerSafeOnline.com. There is a tab for scholarships. We have all of our past essays that students have written, so you'll see the whole impact for there. But we also have all of our past winners from our video contest. And those videos go from being short, smart little commercials to some of them are very comedic and well put together. I mean, these kids are talented.
Oh, incredibly talented. To see the video production and some of those, I'm like, well, I'd hire them for a show for sure. So last time, CareerSafe.org, correct?
CareerSafeOnline.com.
Sorry, CareerSafeOnline.com. I just believe you should be in an org because it's so important. Anyway, so Katie, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. This was fantastically informative. I'm really excited, and I hope that teachers, students, everybody goes to the website and checks it out. And then also, if you have other career information, you can text, oh gosh, I'm going to mess it up again. You can text career. Nope, I don't have it on my notes. Nuts. Every week I try to remember this tag and I blow it every time. So anyways, Katie, thank you so much for joining us.
Kayleen.
And then for all of our fans, we are taking next week off. We understand how many viewers we swing during lunchtime. And because of voting, we don't want people to be watching us. We want you to take time to vote. So we're taking next week off. The following week, we're going to be touring an amazing power plant in Georgia, at which point I'll try not to geek out too much again. And that's it. So Katie, thank you again and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Kayleen. Have a great day yourself.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.